This is Stars and Scopes with your pal Uma Ruby. Updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, do listen to your rising sign first if you know it, but do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're loving this work and you've got some coins to spare, throw them in the tin over at buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby and you can buy me a coffee. Okay, let's drop into it. Hello Cancer and Cancer rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Sagittarius happening on June the 14th at 9:52 p.m. in Australian Eastern Standard Time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is, well, first of all, I hope you like the new format. I thought I'd make an effort. It's Pride Month and I felt like being incredibly proud of my ability to choose a gown. This is exciting stuff. We've got a full moon that's not anything to do with an eclipse that we can work and co-create and manifest with and release to. It's really such a relief after all of the kind of tense energy that's been happening around us for the past month or so. Now, Sagittarius is the sign of the great investigator. It's the student. It's the one that sets forth and learns as much as they can. It's the one that has a really intuitive body. They're sort of mutable fire, so they're mutable. Mutable means the end, so they're really well seasoned in terms of being able to absorb and work with their passion for life. Sagittarius has a big part to play in your sixth house, which is where this lunation's taking place. That's your everyday. That's how you pay your bills, chop your wood, stick to task. It's also your body, your health, your physical vessel. So in terms of that incredible ability for you to be a perpetual student, when it comes to your physical capabilities in your body, in a high vibration, maybe if that is something that you've been kind of a bit lax with, or it's something that's worrying you, this lunation will be a great time to let go any of the goals that maybe you didn't reach in terms of your health. That's what we do with a full moon. We let go stuff that's sort of weighing us down that we don't really need anymore. And Luna sort of absorbs it and takes it and deals with it for us. We can really thank her for that. Now, there's a couple of, I've said it every single reading, there's a couple of tense aspects going on with this lunation. So up in the sky, we have the sun in Gemini, which is beaming all of its light back to the moon in Sagittarius. And that's that beautiful essence of, the sun's energy at nighttime, but it can touch our emotional bodies. And that's how we release and let things go. A T-square is happening. And so a T-square always involves three planets. So we've got the sun, the moon, and forming this T-square, we've got Neptune in Pisces. Now, Neptune's been having a pretty great time in Pisces, to be honest. They love it there. Neptune is the planet, it's the illusionary. It's the magician, in a sense. It's the great dreamer. It's the one that kind of eggs us on and cajoles us through in that sort of etheric sort of sense. Neptune in Pisces is in your ninth house of spirituality and publishing and kind of like formalizing a lot of the sort of esoteric spirit stuff of, writing it down. And it's actually Sagittarius' traditional ruler of that house. So there's a lot of that kind of freshness about this full moon going on. But when we think about a low vibration for Neptune, the magician, in that kind of world, in that sort of spirit land, there is a potential for delusion. There's a potential for spiritually bypassing maybe in some aspects of life. So that's just something to think about when you're doing your rituals with this moon, is what am I vetoing or dodging, moving past, not through, and how am I love and lighting some of my more difficult problems away? That's one thing to think about. There's tarot cards that I wanted to show you as well. in this. So the moon is at 23 degrees in Sagittarius, and the tarot card, as I said before, every point in the zodiac has a specific tarot card, so it's a great way of reading the sky with pictures. 23 degrees Sagittarius is the 10 of Wands. So that is a real energy of feeling just exhausted in a passion project, in a sort of fiery spiritual aspect, a creative way, but just feeling so kind of overcome, and kind of the load that you're carrying is really heavy, and you kind of feel that you maybe don't even have the strength to see it through, like it's just exhausting. So that's something to think about. How is that energy related to your day-to-day, your checks and balances, you know, your daily tasks, for want of a better word? How is this weight affecting you? So the sun is in 23 degrees of Gemini, forming that opposition, and the tarot card for 23 degrees Gem is the 10 of Swords, which is a much more severe card. It does talk about an anxiety overload. It talks about too many worries, too many thoughts, too late up at night, trying to sift through and manage what's going on in here. Sometimes it can be a betrayal too. It can be sort of like, it can be your generosity being abused in some way. Interestingly though, this card, that's the 7 of Swords. What am I doing? The 10 of Swords card itself it talks about the sun in Gemini. So it's interesting that this is playing out sort of so directly and succinctly with these cards, that the sun would be in Gemini, and this is where this full moon is happening. So if we think about release, if we think about some of that anxiety and some of that, I don't know if that's what's going on for you, but if there is a real cage of the mind that you haven't been able to break through and you feel defeated, the sun in Gemini is the sun rising. So everything comes in a cycle, you know, these thought forms and the way that we sort of move around and respond to the world, it all comes in a cycle. Nothing lasts forever. So this is a nice little something to think about, and probably good for you to harness in some of that delusion side of stuff. Where are you being deluded in 10 of Cups land? So this is where Neptune is, and the 10 of Cups is that ultimate emotional fulfillment. It's staring at the rainbow with the family flanking you either side, and you having not a care in the world, but how wonderfully you've succeeded at emotional completion. That's deluded. That's really deluded to think that anyone gets there, you know, like it's sort of, we have these beautiful moments of clarity, and we have, you know, we're entitled to happiness, absolutely. But the idea of this, that's the end of the story. There's nowhere to go from there. So that might be a nice little thing to meditate on. Just that idea of the fairy tales like bull dust. Maybe that could be something. So even like spiritual fulfillment, when it comes to like needing emotional perfection in order to feel spiritually fulfilled, that might be something to ponder over. I've got a couple more tarot cards here from the sky, and then I'm going to do a little intuitive 3 cards as well, just to see if can wrap this up, you know, with what messages that Spirit wants to give right now. So the moon is in a really positive aspect, so a trine. It's sort of like a helping hand with Mars in Aries. Mars is still in Aries, and the fire signs are working together. So Sagittarius and Aries, the passion of what Mars is so at home in Aries. Mars couldn't be happier. That sort of warrior in the house of the warrior, you know, it's perfect. That energy is being propelled up to the moon for you at this time. So feel a little bit more strident in your conviction, I think, is probably one thing to hang on to at this moon. Really allow that Mars fire to generate through you and to hold fast for you. The sun in that difficult 10 of Swords aspect is in a great relationship, a great trine with Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius. So we've talked about Saturn before because it's been there for a while in Aquarius at that particular degree. It just so happens that the sun's now formed that lovely supportive aspect. So air and air, thoughts and thoughts, mentality and mentality. There's what can be achieved with the mind. I'll put it that way. You know what the mind can manifest and produce by thought alone. That's something that you really know and are really good at, Cancer. So allow that support to help you unpick some of these delusions that may be attached to spirituality. It may be attached to that spiritual bypassing in some aspect. Okay, that's the sky. I am also going to pull these intuitive cards now, so I'll dump them there. You can't see my desk, but I've got so many, as I always do, notes and cards and everything here. But I'm in the live studio talking to a live studio audience, so I thought I'd hide it all so you can't see my, the inner workings of my messy mind. All right, so Spirit, please, I need some colorful cards. I need 3 to give to Cancer as a little wish and a little help with this beautiful full moon. What can we release? Is it about health? I mean, they're all attached, you know what I mean? Like it's sort of mental health and physical health, the body. They all go hand in hand. But what can we help Cancer with? What's the message, Spirit? But, excusez-moi. The Ace of Cups. How lovely. That's beautiful. Can you see that? That's a direct, fresh, emotional gesture from Spirit. So that's a real start. It's a new start in a lot of ways. This could be a new relationship. This could be a new love. This could be a new potential. The way that you're relating to the 6th. It could be a fresh. You could bring some of that water into your fire, which actually is Temperance, and that's the Sagittarius card of the major secrets of the tarot. The Temperance talks about balancing fire and water, allowing us both. You absolutely don't have to stop being so passionate or stop being so emotional. Absolutely not. You're entitled to be both, but finding that equilibrium, finding that beautiful alchemy between mixing the two and what can come and what can be heightened and appreciated with help from the other. All right. Oh, gosh. That's a lot of cards, but I will take them because one of them was Temperance again. There's the color version. Haha. It's just speaking about you. High Priestess, great. That's really great for a reminder of intuition and these, like if there's conflicts that you're sort of having and like the potential to spiritually bypass or put too much emphasis into somebody else's teachings, Sagittarius, can be tempered by remembering that the High Priestess lives right inside of you. You know the answers already. I also have the Knight of Swords. This is a big reading. The Knight of Swords, the 9 of Cups, and the 3 of Pentacles. So yeah, there's on the way to you, there's this fast-moving truth teller. This real energy of like just charging ahead and telling the truth in your space right now. They are running in the wrong direction, I think, when I lay them all down like this. You need to get back to a sense of co-creation. So there's the 3 of Pentacles. That's about working together. And I think that probably this might be echoing the Sun, the Moon, and Neptune. So what are the positive aspects of including some of your spiritual beliefs and practice into your day-to-day? How can you temper all of these big energies and make them work for you? Get them to that real state of bliss that the 9 of Cups is, that real space of like, it's the breath out. It's like, I look around and what have I accrued so far as emotional literacy and wealth? Look at my bounty. This is nice. And look, I mean, that ace is like, that's the offer. That's the 10th cup, isn't it? There's the delusion again. I don't know how much sense this is making, but I hope it's made some sense. I enjoyed myself anyway. I don't know about you. But yeah, to cap it all off, Cancer, let go of some of the things that are keeping you from embodying that Sagittarius in your day-to-day. You love to learn, you love to learn. Never ever stop learning. That's one of the most beautiful things about you. I'm going to leave this reading here, Cancer. I do head over to my website. I've just published a whole bunch of fresh offerings, some new readings that focus in on the elementals that I think that might be of interest to you. I'm really loving working with them so far. They're proving to be quite beneficial. They sew in tarot and astrology together. So it's kind of like a birth chart reading, but with messages from tarot sewn in there. And you can tip me if you want. Tip your waitresses. buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby. Other than that, I will speak to you in 2 weeks for a beautiful new moon in your first house in Cancer. So this will be a great time after we've let go of what we need to let go of in the sort of day-to-day, in the way that we're treating our bodies, our health. Let go of that, and then we can start to manifest our soul purpose and what's the next cycle in relationship to ourselves will look like. It's a very solitary one, the first house, but it's essential for good health. Much love. I will see you then. Take care. Bye.